Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Today, in Canada, we celebrate a National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This is a federal observance of how the Catholic Church and the Canadian government took tens of thousands of kids from Indigenous communities and forced them into residential schools where they tried to convert them. And through that, they were abused and they were murdered. This affects them and their families and their communities and us. Let us all observe a National Day for Truth and Reconciliation about what we've been thinking about and saying and doing. Is there truth that we're pursuing? And if not, to reconcile that. Close your eyes, reflect on this. Ma vidvishavahai. May all humans and animals and plants and stones understand each other. In Bhagavad Gita's chapter 2, Prince Arjuna's primary question is shared in verse 7. He asks, Yat Shreyaha Syat, which means, what is the greatest for me? The same sentiment carries over to chapter 3. We may feel that these are different chapters, yet they are not, because the primary question in chapter 3 is shared in verse 2. Prince Arjuna asks, Yena Shreyaha Aham. What is the greatest for me? This shows that Prince Arjuna is no longer fascinated by escaping from pain, but rather needs to embrace peace. Are you feeling like Prince Arjuna? Because only if you are, the answers that Sri Krishna is sharing will have meaning. Sri Krishna answers Prince Arjuna by encouraging him to engage in karma yoga. In our community, we call this karma yajna. By doing so, Prince Arjuna will be muchante. Muchante means be free. Be free to be happy. the framework for this that we're oriented towards right now, the right attitude, that relates to the phala. With the right actions, that relates to the karma, deepens to the right atma, that is the guna. You're all remembering this. Phala comes from karma, which comes from guna. And the right atma helps one to feel the right ananda, that one is more than the body, mind, intellect, blueprint. One is divine. Bhagavad Gita is not a script on how to act, rather why to act. All that's being taught is about intention. The more rightness one is engaged in at all levels, the more one's nature will be revealed to you. This week I introduced the word sambandha. Sambandha means the connection between the means and the ends. For someone who's living by ajnana or forgetfulness, this is their scheme for life. They know with a K and then act to create joy. First they have to know, then they have to act. Their speculation is they can create joy. We all know, at least superficially, you cannot create joy. That is a forgetful scheme of living. Whereas, for one who's living by jnana, one is remembering the insights about joy, they act to help them know that their nature is joy. They cannot create joy, they only rediscover joy. If you come over for dinner, I have to know what to cook, then I have to cook, and then you and I eat. Whereas, if we reference an example of my glasses, all I have to know is that I have my glasses, I'm wearing my glasses, and the utility comes. Are you all clear about sambandha? Without being clear about this, we will be like Prince Arjuna, where we will not understand the relationship between acting and knowing. Okay? Acting is preparation to know. This acting in a holistic way is termed abhyasa. Abhyasa means practice. To practice in all directions. This is the way to check, to curtail abhyasuya. Do you remember what abhyasuya means? One who is negative. One who is not nurturing faith. The more I practice, the more positive I'll be. The more I practice, the more faithful I will be. In the last verse, swasyaha. Who are we? Right now we are prakriti. Prakriti means I feel the most authentic and deepest aspect of me is the guna. Guna means the blueprint. But the more I practice, it's almost like I'm digging up what's deeper, and I will start to feel that my nature is not prakriti but purusha. Purusha means purna, completeness. Shri Krishna empathizes with Prince Arjuna about the difficulty in practicing this. So he specifies in verse 34. Very practical verse. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayorna vashamagachet tau hyasya paripanthinau. First quarter. Indriyasya arte. Of the senses are objects. Clear? We need a community, no? What this means is the sense objects, they are less powerful than the sense organs. Yes? There could be so many types of clothes, and we're all in a store and we see these clothes, but only some of us will be drawn to some clothes, correct? It is not the sense objects that are powerful, it is the sense organs. But the sense organs, this is lifeless. I keep sharing, my hands don't know if I'm touching wood, this wood or this wood. The power of the sense organs comes from the mind or guna that's shared in the second quarter. Raga dveshau vyavastitau. Raga means attachment, dvesha means aversion, vyavastitau. The sense organs are the seat of likes and dislikes. But Sri Krishna's implication here is, it is not the sense organs, it is our propensities, our projections that make the sense organs the way they are. How many of you prefer a salty snack? By show of hands. Your personality is salty, okay? And sweet? How many of you have a sweet tooth? That's me with two hands. It is not my tongue. It is not your tongue. It is our blueprint. Thinking about this more. Likes and dislikes are projections. A dislike, this is not going to lead me to Shreya. A like, this is going to lead me to Shreya. These are simply projections. Projections are facilitated by thoughts. When you're asleep, do you have any projections? When you're asleep, are you scared of the dark? But before you go to sleep, you may be scared of the dark, correct? Thoughts. And yesterday I shared with all of you that raga and dvesha means attachment and aversion also. And attachment is where I have strings between me and that which I'm attached to. These three strings are not physical. I'm not physically attached to my family, to my home. But these strings are made of thoughts. Whatever you think about, you are attached to. Be open, be honest, do not lie to yourself to share that I'm not attached to this body, to this family, to this home, if that's all you think about. Third quarter, so Shri Krishna shares, tayoho na vasham agache. Tayoho, these two, na, do not. Vasham means be controlled, agache. Do not follow these. In other words, you direct yourself rather than be controlled by the likes and dislikes. And a system on how to do that, I've shared many times through Bhagavad Gita, evolve from being controlled by nishiddha karma, which means prohibited actions. How? Direct yourself to kamya karma, which is selfish actions. I am saying that. How do you get out of tamas? Through rajas, correct? Then evolve from kamya karma to naimittika karma, which is your special responsibilities. Then evolve from your naimittika karma to nitya karma, your regular responsibilities. Now who's in control? You are. This is how we evolve from instinct to willpower. The more responsible you are, the more you will find your willpower is dynamic. Quite practical, no? In the last quarter, tau, he, asya, these two again, he, asya, indeed they are, paripantinav, your enemies. Likes and dislikes are your enemies. A reflective thought, and I'll elaborate on just this quarter when we meet tomorrow. If you become a servant of God, if you become a sevaka of Bhagwan, what naturally happens? There's no longer a sense of mine, correct? For a servant, what is mine? Nothing is mine. And the more you address the mine, the more you address the me. That's the change from my nature is Prakriti to my nature is Purusha. How not to be controlled? Direct yourself to be a servant of God. Be Bhagwan Sevika, Sevaka. And all of this will be natural. I will share more tomorrow morning. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to think about how you have evolved from that which is unhealthy to that which is healthy. You're welcome to share in the chat so I can read how you've evolved and see the graciousness of me sharing that all of you have evolved. And you have. The more you remember that you have evolved, the more anasuya, positive you will be that you will continue to evolve. Your application for this morning. Outside of where you live, near the road, as in closest to the public, I want you to keep some pairs of shoes. To remember the thousands of kids that were stolen and abused and murdered by those who follow and further adharma. This is the practice in the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to put shoes outside of your homes, that there's no longer feet that wear those shoes. For us to remember and for everyone to remember. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be safe. Unlike all of these children who are not safe, make sure you're safe and you're sharing safety.